Hello and welcome to this episode of How Would You Run That? A Dungeons & Dragons podcast and ideas factory with me, Lucas Tomlinson.
And me, Jake Canner.
In this podcast, we'll be discussing some aspect of Dungeons & Dragons. An encounter, location, trap, puzzle, NPC, PC, god, magic item, or really anything that can exist in the world of Dungeons & Dragons. Importantly, we'll then be asking each other the question, how would you run that? At the end of each episode, one of us will reveal the topic for next week's episode to the other and ask, how would you run that? Giving us each a week to research, plan, and prepare how we would run said thing.
Today's episode is on the intervention of the gods. Lucas, how would you run that?
So, Jake, what's your exciting news for the week?
My exciting news for the week is that I've discovered sugar-free dandelion and burdock, and it's changed my absolute world. Well, I like the flavour of dandelion and burdock, but I'm not super into fizzy drinks in general, not super into all the sugar. I also was never really into sugar-free drinks either, but some has appeared in the fridge, and it tastes somehow like the modern edge because it's sugar-free and it's cool and it's edgy. It's also dandelion and burdock, it tastes like the 70s. And these two things combined is just, it's a glorious party in my mouth and not so much a party on my hips. 10 out of 10.
Yep, I mean, I completely understand that.
What are you drinking?
I drink, as we've talked about in this podcast before, I drink copious amounts of tea. Start the day with the tea, all through work. Might have a few glasses of water in between, and then tea in the evening. And yeah.
What's your brand?
I'm not such a loyalist on brand. I do like a bargain.
Okay.
But
okay.
I've got, I don't know, like the amount of times you buy a big box of tea, there's usually one of them offer. It's either PG Tips, Yorkshire Tea is the prime one.
That's the standard, yeah.
Get a few of those boxes in. I don't know, we have Thai food at work, which I never drank before, and that's alright. I'm less fussy on what brand it is, but I do remember once when I was a student I tried, it might have been the Asda owned brand tea bags.
Like the red label or...
Yeah, like their own brand cheapest chips one, and that was just bad. I didn't like that. But I did that with everything. Like everything, as soon as I had to buy things for myself for the first time, it's like, right, the cheapest of everything, because I'm sure it's all fine. And you quickly realise what you can't do that for.
Yeah, that's it. You have little spikes of luxury in amongst the general, bottom tier of everything.
Most things instantly just took a step up. Tea bags is memorable from that week. Loo roll also. Never look back. Always go for the branded stuff.
Yeah.
Biscuits. Cheap biscuits are still good. I'm happy with that. Why would you drink?
I'm a coffee in the morning, tea in the afternoon kind of guy. In fact, I'm surprised you don't drink more coffee when you're Euro household.
A little bit, yeah. Charlotte drinks a lot of coffee. Like at my old work, we do it this work as well. But at my old work, we had a new coffee machine at one point. It was a big automated thing for the office of 200, right?
Yeah.
And I've got one of those classic Sports Direct mugs, the big ones that you see in everyone's office.
Yeah, the one you never asked for, that they charge you £1 for, but now you've got it, you can't get rid of it.
Every office has about 5 of them in the back of the cupboard. So I was like, right, fantastic. But I'd fill this with coffee from the machine, and it's like it ground it for you in the machine. Like it was really good coffee, but 3 of those in one day was just I was getting shakes at the desk. And I was having one a day and not really thinking much about it, but then I don't know, I just got a bit of a headache one day and I was like, maybe it's all this caffeine I'm drinking. And I thought, just sacked it off. I don't drink coffee at work anymore.
I went the other way. I was having as much coffee in my life that when I stopped, I thought, I'm having too much caffeine. I then got the headaches and thought, you know what, I need to wean myself off slowly. I can't cold turkey this shit.
Yeah.
Go on then, what's happening for you? What's new in the world of Lucas and Sheffield? It was a nice day.
What is new?
You must be feeling chipper.
Yeah, pretty good. I'm enjoying the weather. But I guess what's new with us? We've been driving around Sheffield picking up pallets from industrial estates.
Cool.
Not just randomly. I mean, they've been purchased online first. eBay seems to have a sweet deal on old pallets.
Cool.
On Monday, we had to get up early before work to go and drive to the other end of Sheffield to pick up a pallet to bring it back because the place we were buying it from was only open Monday to Friday from 8 till 2 or something stupid.
Yeah.
So we had to do it before work. And that was, and then we got all the school traffic on the way back. But anyway, we've got the pallets because Charlotte is making planters from the pallets, which is really nice.
That's cool. I assumed you weren't starting a shipping company.
No, not yet. For now, we're just breaking down the pallets for the wood, and she's made a few pretty nice planters out of it and like painted them up and lined them and stuff. So
nice.
Yeah, that's that.
Is there any other British stereotype we need to hit? 'Cause we've done tea, we've done weather. We're now doing gardens. Is there anything else we need to touch on just to make sure everyone knows that we're a British podcast?
You haven't said that you've had fish and chips recently. You've mentioned that before.
Yeah, well, I haven't had it recently. I'm not going to lie to people.
That's fine. No, we could talk about like planning the next time we're going to have fish and chips. The Queen. What's she up to? Not spoken to her recently.
Have you followed the Queen's parody account on Twitter?
No, oh yes, I've not seen that for a while though.
No, I think they now have to like put parody in brackets because it was just like Queen UK.
Yeah. You know there's some idiots out there that think that's the genuine Queen.
So, on the topic, okay, let's talk more British Twitter things. Have you seen the Big Ben Twitter?
No, what's that all about? Just looking down at all the plebs or what?
No, not at all. It's just every hour on the hour it tweets the number of bongs that are in the hour. So 2 o'clock, it just tweets bong bong. And that's what it does. And I adore that it's being used for that. I think it's been going for 10 years. Who knows?
I like things like that, where someone's thought of a way to get a lot of attention somehow, like some stupid thing, but like, I'm assuming there's some sort of automated thing behind that makes it happen.
Must be now.
Yeah, but without a way to sort of monetize or capitalize on that, what are they doing it for?
Oh, it's entirely pointless. It's just a wonderful bit of silliness. It harks back to 2005 internet when nothing was monetized and everything was wonderful.
No, I'm not about that. It's incredibly inefficient. What a waste of time. Like, there needs to be something to come from this.
Nah, just enjoy the art of silliness. I mean, what are we doing? We aren't monetized.
Not yet. That's the plan. We're gonna get those 17 million listens a week and quit the day job.
Fair point. Okay, so shout out to anyone that's listening. Show this podcast to one of your friends this week who hasn't heard it, please. And if we keep doing that, we'll have a pyramid scheme on our hands.
Yeah, special shout out to Lisa if she's listening. She's a client at work. One of my colleagues mentioned it on a client call today. So if she is listening, fantastic. Love that. Can't wait for you to tell me about it in a few weeks' time.
Rock and roll. All right, let's bring it back around to the matter at hand. Lucas, I asked you a week or so ago, Intervention of the Gods. How would you run that? So, let's talk your session.
Okie doke. So, thinking about how to bring it in. What's significant enough to get a bunch of gods interested in the party and, like, intervening in some way?
Yeah.
And so I thought about a session, and this is one you can plan and just have on the back burner whenever you want, because I'm thinking about having the Intervention of the Gods as a fail-safe or a safety net for a TPK.
Okay.
Total party kill.
Yeah.
So, I'm picturing the party has had some sort of encounter or something unexpected happened, and you as a DM have accidentally killed them all. Accidentally, not so accidentally. For whatever reason, it's happened.
Yeah.
Your party's dead. You end the session on a big cliffhanger, right, we'll pick up next time. When the party gathers again, they are in sort of an amphitheatre.
Okay.
The scenario I'm playing is it's going to be in the middle of a like forgotten jungle type thing. There's like this big stone amphitheatre with vines and big palms and like rubber tree looking things like the split leaves.
Nice.
Background noise is all like tropical birds and stuff. Like it's unknown, uncharted lands, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like Amazon rainforest type thing.
Yeah.
They're in the middle of this amphitheatre on sort of a stage, and they are in their physical forms, fine, they think, but then they look in front of them and there's a small pile of corpses, which is them and the party. And you can describe, like, if one party member died to something like fireball, say, their scorched remains are there. Like, you describe, like, you can physically see, yeah, that did happen.
Mm-hmm.
So they're there, and as they sort of take in the surroundings, they realise that they're at the bottom of this amphitheatre. Around the outside are these large stone, like, they look like seats to you and me, like sofa type things, like thrones.
Okay.
But, like, they're quite overgrown and stuff, and, like, it doesn't really, like, there's stone structures around the outside. And one by one, these stone seats start to fill, and a selection of gods appear from different pantheons.
Cool.
And basically, the party has died, but they've not travelled to the afterlife. Being a party of adventurers, being of note, strong, capable in comparison to the average person.
Yeah.
Each of the gods has a proposition for them to gain their favour. So this is like a group auction almost, where they are, for their lives, they are exchanging it for something with the gods.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So it's not a case of, we're the gods, you're alive again, good luck. They all want something from the party. They've got their own goals and stuff, and they want something. And so I've selected a selection of gods.
Cool. A smorgasbord of deities.
Yes. Oh, 1 second.
Oh, a Sports Direct mug has arrived.
It's a Sports Direct mug full of tea and biscuits. Charlotte's making biscuits.
That's a beast. That's a huge biscuit. Chocolate chip cookies the size of your head.
So I've been looking through different source books, and I've tried to find one maybe obvious one, but a few less common deities that people might want to try out. Because these gods are not so well known, do whatever you want with them. Like, there's enough of a little, this is the god to pick them up, but you can make the rest up.
That's a bit of fun as well. If you've got a really big hitter god that everyone knows, you've got Pelor or whatever, then there are already temples to them. They've got clerics. If you find some lesser known sort of backbencher gods that don't have an awful lot of influence in the world, this is a good opportunity. It's like, I'm here and I want something, but I'm powerful.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why maybe they've taken an interest in a group of regular adventurers. It's like the level of their ambition matches the level of ability of the party.
Perfect.
Bahamut's not swooping down and saying, "Yo, guys, let's be righteous." It's the fucking loser weird ones that turn up and want something.
Nice. All right. So who's on the list? Who's in the palette of gods?
Okay. So I've said one's really obvious and a big one. So I'm going to have the Raven Queen there just because again I really like the Raven Queen, and she just fits really well into it. But yeah, she's there. I guess it's worth saying I'm not imagining all of these being physically there. Not that all of them got a physical representation, but I'm not imagining them being physically there as a humanoid with, fancy clothes that suit them.
Yeah.
I'm seeing them being there as weird, not angels in a biblical sense, that sort of thing, but something more that direction. They're less obviously humanoid.
So it's an icon or a motif of the god, or
it could be. So for the Raven Queen, it could just be a giant anthropomorphic raven, say,
cool.
Or something I don't know, imagine a giant hood with just a beak sticking out, just floating over this throne, no lower half, and that's the her representation here in this sort of meeting.
Yeah, cool. That's a bit of fun. So you got the Raven Queen?
Yeah, and she's obviously in the centre. She's the big one. She's got first choice. She's going to speak first to the party, and she's going to make the worst offer out of the group.
Cool. So, okay, it's just like Dragon's Den.
Effectively, yeah. All right, okay, so it's Dragon's Den with the god. It's Dungeons and Dragons Den.
Oh my god, we should have seen this one coming.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, right. So they're in. It's called Shark Tank in the US.
Yeah, what's that all about?
I don't know. I'm not about that.
Nah.
But, okay, so.
Dungeons and Dragons Den. That's. Well done, us.
Yes. I'm so happy. Right, cool. So she's making the worst offer. Imagine, if you've got all your options, this is the one that's, the least interesting. You can sort of just carry on with your regular thing, and you don't really have to do a lot.
Yeah.
It's going to be the least flavoured and have the least impact on the rest of them. So I want to try and dissuade them from this with interesting, exciting stuff from elsewhere that has more story implications.
Okay.
So basically, she just wants their memories. So, not in life, at death. She wants their memories in death. So they will not just go on to a regular afterlife. They'll be owned and claimed by her, and she'll mark them in some way, and that's it. So they'll still go around the regular day to day, and you could build in some other story elements if you want to, but that's the get out of jail card.
Sure. Go out into the world, cause some tragedy. Every time you do, you get a raven feather tattoo, and I'll see you when you're dead.
That's really cool, actually. Yeah. So obviously, I was thinking marked when they leave there and return to the material plane, but what you're saying is every time they do something of consequence, they get another feather tattoo. That's very cool. I like that a lot. Yeah, so they slowly start, as they do more and more tragic things.
They become Jared Leto.
Feathery Jared Leto. Cool. So we've got the Raven Queen. She's the main player. Otherwise, I've got 4 more.
Cool.
I don't know if you're going to know about who these guys are.
That's all right, I got Google at the ready.
Okay, so I've got Ereboss.
Ereboss. Sounds
Ereboss is from Mystic Odysseys of Theros. So he's a Therosi god. And he is basically the god of the underworld. He's Hades, but in Theros setting, from what I can gather. And he's like a very slim humanoid with like ram's horns.
What's Ereboss all about?
Ereboss, he wants their souls. He has very little dominion in the straight up material plane. And he is trying to muscle in on that territory. He's doing this by getting people's souls individually. He wants to claim them when they die so that he can have it. So basically, because his party died, like, of natural, in inverted commas, natural causes.
Natural adventuring causes.
And on the material plane, in whatever setting you're in, he has no claim on their soul. He's not got a seat at that table when the souls come to wherever they go next.
Right.
He wants in, so he says to the party that, in exchange for your life again, I want your soul upon your death.
Right.
So it's like, it's similar to the Raven Queen, but it's maybe more dire because, their soul compared to their memories is a bit different. It's like maybe a player's really attached to their soul for whatever reason.
So, okay, what does set those two apart? What do you reckon?
So on top of that, he wants them to meet a soul quota.
Ooh. Not just give me your soul, sends more souls to me.
Yes, I want you to reap souls for me. You guys are killing people anyway. I want those souls from those dead people.
Right.
So they have a quota, and you depending on how combat heavy your scenario is, I'm thinking of like 1 soul each per week.
Okay. It's almost like a Warlock Patron level thing going on, but
yeah, exactly. Well, that's what it is. These guys are entering a deal with these gods to get their lives back. And what I'm thinking is, he gives each of, and as a boon, he gives each of them a weapon, like just a regular +1 or something, magic weapon, that in some way will, facilitate the soul harvesting.
Sure. So, I mean, I'm looking at these people as you're talking, but it seems that Ereboss's thing is gold-infused tattoos, gold stuff. It symbolises the grasp of the god of death. So some sort of gold inlay on a dagger or something. Kill somebody with this once a week, and I'm your boy. Exactly.
And then if you have, for whatever reason, a scenario where there's no one around to kill, you get towards the end of the week and you've got to meet your quota, fuck. Like, what are you going to do? Yeah. You have to go out and kill someone. And that's funny, and that's like, there could be some moral questions around that. Who's available, if you're out in the wild somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought that's an interesting way to put like a little subplot in.
It's cool that this is for the whole party there as well, because I've played in games where you've got your one warlock character who has to do something similar. Send me souls once a week, otherwise revving words. And then you get that moment where that warlock goes away and does a murder, and the rest of your party is just, what the hell, bro? Whereas this is warlocks. Like the party en masse have to come to terms with, like, we now need to go to that village and slaughter some folks, otherwise we're going to get godly slaughtered. And as a group, they have to come to that moral conclusion rather than just ostracizing one of the group.
So one thing I hadn't really settled on with this was whether the whole group had to agree to the same patron.
Ah, right, okay.
I was thinking yes, but I wanted to see what you thought about it, whether it would be too erratic to track like potentially 5 different requirements, like on a session by session basis. So I think for now it's like let's imagine it all as one, but then we can always decide.
That feels easier, doesn't it? Because as you say, you'd have to track as many as your party, each have a pact, and you think, oh god, the mechanic of them. But at least even if that you went that way, because everyone's present for the conversation, everyone is now aware that Vestel has to go off and murder a sentient creature once a week, and if she doesn't, then it's bad times. So when she does that, we don't judge her.
Yeah, that's it. We were all there. We all had that choice. Yeah. Okay, so bearing in mind then the idea that we're having everyone having one group patron.
Yes.
The next one is Erdlin.
Erdlin
is a gnomish god.
Okay.
Yes, and he is pretty damn greedy.
Intermediate deity is his subtitle.
Well, that's it. These guys aren't all heavy hitters. Most of the gnomish gods are pretty happy-go-lucky, following off like Gary Glittergold.
What?
He's like the main gnomish god.
Gary Glittergold?
It's not Gary Glittergold, is it? What's it called? Garl Glittergold?
Not better.
Glittergold. What's his name? It's something like that.
This is really reinforcing the Britishness of the podcast if we're bringing in known paedophiles.
Garl Glittergold. It's Garl. Entirely different.
Garl Glittergold. I mean, that is I'm going to put my hands on my hips and frown.
He's the main gnome god.
Right. Do you want to be in my gang? If that's how he comes out, Garl Glittergold.
Oh,
do you want to be in my gang?
Oh, don't. Oh. Anyway, he's the main guy, and a lot of the other ones are sort of in his gang, and he gets them together to do stuff, and that's how the gnomish gods are described. He gets them together for something. Erdlin is a bit of a shit, and he's not part of that group. He's the outcast gnomish god.
Okay.
And he's about greed and murder, and yeah, his thing is he's a mole-ish type gnome. So I'm imagining in the seat a giant mole.
Yeah, I'm seeing naked mole rats. They're calling him white mole, blind, hairless, sexless, but with claws of steel.
So yeah, he's sat in the seat, and what he wants, he's up to no good, obviously. So he's gonna, in exchange for their lives, he wants a one-off big payment. He wants the party to deliver within the space of X amount, some gold to him, and he has a plan of how to do that. And it's gonna be some sort of heist or robbery, but basically he's found a place where there's loads of gold or things of value, and he wants that, and he wants the party to do this bad thing for him.
Okay, so he wants gold. Cool. Why is that the motivation? Is it just so it's an easy thing to think of as a DM, or is that playing to the gods?
I mean, you could have some item and have it I want you to steal this item from that place, but
right.
I just thought, yeah, give me a ton of value. I want stuff of value so that I can do whatever it is a god does with his treasure, hoard it somewhere underground.
Sure, cool. But that's fun. So yeah, okay, one big thing, they have a quest, an adventure they've got to complete.
Mm-hmm.
They've got enough information to start digging. You give them a big old quest hook. Cool. Good way to get everyone back in the game.
Yeah, and then once you've completed that, you can either, double or nothing sort of thing. Maybe he doesn't release you straight away, he's not to be trusted.
What a shit.
You were so good, I want more, They don't know that at the time, but that's how it could go on from there.
Yeah, cool.
Okay, that's Erdlin.
Erdlan.
On a similar note, we've got the dwarvish god Roknar.
Roknar, okay.
Roknar. And if Erdlin was greedy, Roknar is super greedy, because he's a greedy dwarf.
Cool, okay. So what's his shtick? Greedy dwarf.
He is the god of, greed, lies, and intrigue. So he's not too dissimilar from Erdlin, but he's greedier.
Okay.
And I see him as rather than with Ereboss wanting souls, he just wants value. He wants stuff, things, gold. So with him, you've got to pay in installments from now until the end of your regular life. So again, if you once a week, once a month, whatever, there's a sum of value of items, or gold, and the party has to provide him with it. So, around the same time every month or week, one of his envoys arrives, and, he's there to claim whatever it is they've got to give.
Okay.
And it has to be theirs to give, and then that's, so the party, in addition to whatever quest they're on, have to amass wealth or collect, stuff that is worth something and give it up.
It's quite nice to have something to do with all those odd magical items that you end up amassing as a party over the course of a campaign.
Yeah.
The little plus ones, you think, oh yeah, it's got a lot of value, that'll be good, but then eventually you're on a big quest across the desert or in a non-civilized part of the world, but you can't just go and rob stuff or purchase things or what have you. You start running dry, having to give up. At some point, there's probably going to be a point where they've got to make a real decision about something that is an active item. So
that's what I was thinking. So
cool.
That +1 javelin that you've held onto for so long and never used.
Yeah.
Get rid.
The 99 elixirs in your inventory in Final Fantasy VII.
I don't think I ever used an elixir in Final Fantasy.
It feels like such a waste, but they're so good.
Well,
okay.
That's his shtick.
So that differs from Erdlan, who's a one-off, get me this one thing. So I'm sending you on a quest, do this job for me, and we're even. This is super, like you say, super greedy, super slimy. You're on a retainer. I'm coming. I'm never out of your life.
Exactly. Yeah.
Ugh.
Right?
Yeah.
And then for number 5,
Yeah, Mambo.
I've got Sehanine Moonbow.
Okay.
She's the elven goddess of... Well, she's described in a bit of a weird way. The elven pantheon in itself is a bit weird, but she's sort of revered as this sort of... she's to do with death on the one hand, but also bringing life into the world.
Okay.
So it's like full circle kind of stuff.
Yeah, okay, so she's all about the goddess of moonlight, the lunar lady, the mystic seer, the luminous cloud.
So like she's the antithesis today, it's like, but she's also a part of the full cycle of a day, and she's necessary.
Yes, okay. The yang to the yin.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I see her anyway.
Cool.
And what she's going to do is she's basically got a different kind of quest where you are going to have to help save something or someone, like preserving life and keeping it in the world by, killing whatever it is that's attacking. Okay. And it's going to be some, like, again, a one-off quest somewhere to sort of, like find out about these guys here, like this halfling settlement or something.
Yeah.
And defend them against whatever's attacking them.
I'm with you.
So again, that's a one-off quest. And this is maybe like if the party are finding all the rest of the options too dark or sinister or like, not on what their character would be about, this is then the option where you get there's nothing for you to gain afterwards. It's just, here is something you must do.
Yeah.
And that is it. I'm impeaching you. I'll save your life if you can save others.
Nice. Okay. I suppose the first question that comes to mind with all of these things is it seems like all they have to do is say yes to someone and they get to come back into the world. So, what happens if they don't do the things?
If they don't do the things?
So okay, let's say your party has agreed to one of the gods. And I don't mind who it is, because I assume we could just common up the penalty here. But yes, we will go and we will, at some point, when we're in the next big city, we're going to go and rob the big bank, and we're going to get you, Erdlin, all of the gold.
Good, excellent.
And the impressive glaive of digging, or some oddity that you want, fine, we will do that thing. Except they don't.
Well then you're going to get summoned once again to this location.
Yeah.
And you have to answer for your crimes. You've not been, you've not done what you said, so there's going to be some sort of penalty. And I want it to be a heavy penalty. It's like, you still have to do what you said you would do, but now you have to do it with, I don't know, -2 constitution.
Yeah.
I am bringing you closer to death because you are not doing what I've said. Don't cross me again.
Big penalties then. Yeah.
Yeah, like, or if it was one of the better options, like, so for Sehanine Moonbow, say, you could have it being like, she can't, this is the deal that's been made, you've broken it, I'm not able to keep you on, keep you alive. Like, it was a requirement of our agreement that you do this, and now without that, your connection to your life essence is detaching.
Sure, so the pact you made is indeed the thing that fuels your life force, and if you renege on that, you're essentially severing your own connection to the mortal coil.
Yes. If you're making a deal with a god, that's not the sort of thing you can break so easily.
No.
And it's only through their, greed or whatever that they're keeping you on rather than just sacking you off straight away.
Yeah. Okay. That's a pretty cool way then. Firstly, TPK, they happen, but sometimes you don't want that to happen. I mean, I can't think of a time you do want that to happen, but I know the first time it happened to me and the group we were playing with, we all followed one player into the certain doom room because they went through a curtain of something, and we're all like, well, we would follow them to see what happens. And we go in, it's like, hello, I am the Deathbringer, and we all met our deaths because this one player decided to, I'm going to run through, and we're all like, Leroy Jenkins has Leroy Jenkins, and now we have to go in after them.
Yeah, I've not had a TPK before, but I can't imagine it's very satisfying.
I think that's the thing, because it is intentionally cut short, and that's the perfect way to describe it, yeah, unsatisfying. I think it would be different if we're going to go into battle against 1,000,000 dragons and the odds are slim, and if you go in and you do the fight and you come out and you die, you think, okay, we went in, prepared, fully in the knowledge, fine. But sometimes, I think, well, even maybe often, You think, maybe it's the same with all character deaths. When they happen, you think it's just a twist of fate. I mean, it almost happened to you the other day. It was like, roll, roll, roll. Like, I was not expecting that wizard to roll so high, and down you go. I'm like, oh no, this wasn't the plan, you know?
And then I failed 2 death saves. And,
yeah.
you know, yeah, I was lucky. I was really bummed, but I was gonna take it if it happened.
Well, that's what happens, isn't it?
Then I could have done my order to main cleric.
Yeah, I knew you had that in the back of your mind. Oh no, I'm rolling d10s for my death saves.
Whoops. No, I love my character. I don't want him to die. He's great.
No. But this is a, as you say, you should get out of jail approach, or it's something to think of in the case of we've TPK'd, it felt a bit unfair, and we're not done yet.
Yeah. I mean, I that's definitely what I was thinking. I'm thinking also about less experienced DMs that worry about, you know, balancing encounters and what's going to happen if I kill my party and stuff. And it's like, loads of things can happen if you kill your party. Killing your party is not the end of anything. Like, there are so many ways you could get them out of that don't involve big deals with gods, you know? Like, you know, you all wake up in a room you're not familiar with and some adventurer guy has, like, dragged you there and stitched you up or whatever. Like, there's always things you can do.
Yes.
But yeah, I thought this would be a good way of doing that. Like, it is your get out of jail free card, but it comes at some sort of cost or penalty.
Sure.
Or task. I guess a task isn't a penalty. I want these things to be difficult. I want them to, like, really test the play. So it's not like, oh yeah, you're dead, but now you can do this instead, and like, I'm going to back you because I'm a god. Yeah. It's like, this is going to be really fucking tough, and you've got to do it. And maybe you fail in doing it, but you do a really good job, and like they let you off with some, you know, or give you something else to do afterwards, or whatever.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the god that they choose. But say they go with one of the gods, it's not like a one-time deal. So it's not save the halfling village. It's not steal the item. If they go for one of the gods, it's like the recurring, repetitive debt.
They've got the soul to pay or the money to pay. Yeah.
At some point, I think I certainly would as a player. I would want to get out of that deal. Partially because of the admin of every week having to deal with it, but also after a while you might think, if you're super in character, this is taking a toll on my soul. You know, I've done a deal with the bad side of life in order to come back and do what I want to do. And that's starting to get me as a character down. So could it be possible to get out your celestial telephone, ring one of the other gods and say, I'm not super into this deal, help me out? Do you reckon we could do something like that?
Yeah, so absolutely. I don't think it's as easy as getting out the celestial telephone. But definitely, I would, if it's something my party start discussing amongst themselves, I'd definitely try and facilitate that. So I guess the fact that you've come up with it now, let's think about how it's going to work. I think a way to do that would be, whatever deal you choose, the other gods feel slighted.
So everyone goes to their level 2 deal.
Well, yeah, until they say I'm out. So yeah, I guess particularly if you're thinking about Ereboss, who just wants to muscle in and get souls from this plane, like that's a big deal for him because he's got no authority there really.
No skin in the game.
I mean, Theros is like the physical location upon a material plane, but you know, we'll just say it's a different plane of existence.
Yeah, poof, like, somewhere else.
He hasn't got anything from there. He sorts out the souls on his plane, and that's it. So, like, maybe he's going to up his offer, you know? Maybe rather than just a +1, he's also going to give them some other boon so that they're more, you know, so they have some other kind of advantage in bringing these souls to him.
Yeah.
You know, he extends his influence more. He tries to outbid one of the others.
You've taken the word out of my head. I was going to say, can we start a bidding war between gods?
Yeah. I mean, for the greedy ones, you know, maybe it's a case of they've done this deal before with other people and it's been very profitable for them. So they're going to try and get them on board by offering them a sweetener that maybe looks like a good deal to the party, but actually, because they've lied to them, it's going to turn out to be a bum deal.
Ooh.
I don't know, a cursed item or something.
Thought there then. These are all your like intermediate deities who don't have an awful lot of power. I'm assuming that by doing something for them on the material plane, that's going to up their standing in the pantheon, or it's going to give them some more power, some more souls, some more credence, something. It gives them an elevation of sorts.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Okay.
They all have their own desires and whims and whatever, so
sure,
they want whatever it is from you for their own means, and then, you know, you could MacGuffin that into being anything. more souls will allow Ereboss to besiege the material plane, maybe. If Roknar or Erdlin get enough monetary wealth, they're going to build some ridiculous temple or like some, they're going to embolden their regular followers, through coin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of thematic things that could jump off of it. But I do think, they are keen to get you. Like the fact they've turned up in the first place, for the Raven Queen, maybe this is a bit like by the by. It's not such a big deal for her. Like she's there because she thinks like this is my deal anyway.
Yeah.
But for the rest, like they've got something to lose by not making a deal here.
Mm.
It's like the new character on Dragon's Den every season that has to make a big impact straight away.
Yes.
Character, the real people.
Yeah, the Raven Queen is Deborah Meaden in this case, and everyone else is just like upstarts coming
That's
through.
it. She's done this so many times. She's,
She's made her money, she's got her memories, but anything at this point is a bonus because that's the world she's in.
Yeah. She doesn't want these upstart newbies, still in the show.
Okay. What I was getting towards then, what if it was like a zero-sum game? So the idea is, or an idea is, everyone that is here has some thing that they want to happen on the material plane that they can't get access to for reasons. By doing the thing for one of the gods, that negatively impacts the other ones. So say in this little mini pantheon, they've all got social standing or they've all got status. By going in with Ereboss and claiming a bunch of souls, you are not just slighting the other gods, but you're actually putting them at a disadvantage when it comes to seats at the godly table or something like that.
Okay.
So you could at some point either be outbid, or if you are deciding that you want to get out of your deal with Ereboss, you do get out the phone, or you find a temple or a shrine and pray to one of the others, and they say, I will release you from that deal, but what you've got to do is, when you said that some of the gods might have had other people die and they've already sent other people out, so there might be some other soul farmers in the world. Your mate Erdlin says, if you go and find these other soul reavers in the world, kill them, i.e. remove Ereboss's advantage in the material plane, I will release you.
Okay. Yeah, that's how you could sure do that.
Play them against each other. I'm getting deep quick, but
Yeah, I mean, you're thinking about it slightly different to what I thought about it, but yeah, you could absolutely have that. Like, these guys, because they're here at this, imagine if you're, like, playing it out, like, the discussion, like, and they're outbidding each other, and, like, they come to, like, real serious words, and, like, this is a clear, like, disagreement between these two parties. If you were to go for one of them, then, yeah, maybe the other one becomes, like, an antagonist. Your goals, as well as, like, getting souls for Ereboss, you have to, get souls, particularly from followers of the Raven Queen.
Yeah.
And he's not saying that directly because the deal's been made, but he returns you to the material plane in a place where there's just by chance a lot of followers of the Raven Queen, and not a lot else.
That's cool, yeah.
But no, I definitely see. When I said earlier about the gods feel slighted if you don't choose them.
Yeah,
I feel like there's going to be some sort of retribution as well coming back at the party. So, other people that are, in a similar deal for one of the other gods are going to come and try and mess you up.
Okay, so you've entered this world of people doing stuff for these lesser gods, and at that point you're on the radar, so to speak.
Yeah, you've slighted the other lesser gods, and they'd, like, thrown all the toys out the pram, and now they want you dead. They want you dead so that you can return to that place and, be forced into a different deal.
The law turns up and tries to claim you for the Raven Queen.
Yeah. Everyone's favourite recurring character. That would be funny, actually. If it was tied to that other storyline and you already met the law, and like he was brought back to you again after you'd made friends with him, and he's like, what the hell's going on here? It's like, I gotta do it. And he's reluctantly then, like, battering against the party.
Nice callback. I like a good callback.
Everything we're building is on the same existence. Like, it is the how would you run that?
Canon.
Yeah, I think we're building a canon.
Yeah.
And if it contradicts itself, a wizard did it.
Okay. So we've got our party, and they're sitting among these other gods. In our canon, we have no problem with there being gods in the world, and people are generally accepting that there are gods, and divine magic is a thing that is thung. So this isn't. It's a special occasion, but it's not entirely inconceivable that it's happened.
No, absolutely.
What if one of your party has a relationship with a god already? I know that in our sort of narrations we don't have a cleric per se, but you could have someone that has a religious persuasion, or maybe they've got in with a natural god, wild mother sort of thing, or...
Yeah, I guess that would be difficult, depending on how it sort of puts the party with the question. Because I had imagined it like these are deals, like a warlock patron. They're not asking for any sort of reverence or
proper fealty or anything.
Fealty is the word I could think of, yeah. But I guess you could have that, and then it's a challenge for them. What I'm anticipating is, like, they'd hear all the offers, and the party's like, yep, that's the one, that's the best one, let's all choose that, and they're all agreed for straight away. And I don't want that to happen. I want there to be some thought, and I want there to be a bit of time spent in this place that I've just bloody set up and started doing. You can't just pick the first offers you want.
I want you to talk about this after the session. Talk to me next week.
Yeah, this
this needs to be in the WhatsApp group.
I've planned out all the eventualities, right? Like, don't just pick the first one. So, apart from like outbidding to try and give them a sweeter deal, I also think that if they're too quick to pick someone, or if it's like it's really obvious they're going to pick someone, I would then try and make the deal less good. Like they would like, and that would be a good one. So if you had any sort of god follower in your party, class based or otherwise, they would ask you to hold them as the new god. Maybe not replace, but like, you know, they would expect you to do some, like there'd be some prayer or sacrifice or you know, incense burning, or you know what you normally have people doing for gods. You know, there'd be some sort of expectation, like if you ever see a follower of this place, you must treat them like this. You know, like so your rival or like, you know,
you must burn it to the ground.
On every Sabbath, you must eat one rabbit.
That'll get you, rabbit god.
I hate that guy.
Well, you got Elmer Fudd, the god. I hate rabbits.
So we've got the 5 regular gods. We've got Elmer Fudd, the 6th option. I saw a sneaky rabbit. Yeah.
Having that religious character in your party, I think it actually makes this a bit easier, possibly for you as a DM, because there ought to be that immediate moral quandary. If you've got a paladin, a cleric, to somebody, you know, one of your traditional big name, run of the mill good gods.
Yep.
And you're coming in there with these slightly murky deals, kill all these things, steal all this stuff. That should put them ill at ease. And that should get the conversation flowing of, I can't possibly go murdering souls all the time. Or does it count if they're already evil people? Do you want evil souls? And
it can be any soul. So basically it's just, you have to do, you know, it has to be someone.
Yeah.
You as a group have this quota to meet.
Because I think players have got no problem murdering the life out of everything.
Yeah,
but some characters should.
Yes, and that's my hope. Like I'm sort of, I like putting hopefully difficult moral questions on my party. Like, what would I do? What should I do? Am I okay with this sort of thing? You know, and if they're maybe not okay with it, it's like, how can I make them a bit more okay with it? You know, or if they're too okay with it, how can I make it a bit more difficult? You know, like again, like I said, I don't want it to be like a really simple choice for them. I want them to have to and and argue maybe a little bit about what they think is best.
How would you make the deal less sweet? So say they've heard the Raven Queen's offer and the party go, yep, sounds good. How do you make it at that point? How do you go back on her offer? Okay,
so as she's about to like accept the deal done, you know, she has some sort of change of heart, or some sort of messenger appears to her, like, you know, so this is this giant hooded raven's head in a chair. All of a sudden, the rest of the raven appears and leans toward, like the rest of the cloak with like raven's feet at the bottom.
Oh yeah,
without the head. This is how I'm imagining it. Without the head, like, so appears next to her like a plume of like an explosion of feathers, silently, and sort of leans towards her and like raises its hand as if it's whispering, but there's obviously no head to, you know, to distract. But yeah, and then whispers something, and she turns around and is like, "I have changed my offer," and then, you know, rather than just you know, you are marked by me from now until your death. Instead,
you're marked by me, and you've got 60 days. See you in 2 months.
You must aid my, you know, followers in this place or that place, you know, and then, you know, when you leave here, I will send you to them, and then you've got some Raven Queen followers, Shadokai say, on the material plane, and they're doing something, and you've been sent there as muscle to back them up in something. And it's not something you want to do.
Yeah, okay.
I guess I would explain it as well, like, my followers in place X are planning to overthrow the king, do X, do Y, something like pretty bad. I say, you must assist them, that is the new deal.
I'm with it. Okay, that's cool.
They've got the option then to pull out.
Yeah.
And I guess I'd have then, again, another god butting in, trying to steal the deal at last.
Yeah. There was an idea I had as you were saying those things. It could be that if they... Maybe you consider that every one of these gods actually has something that they're not telling the party. So let's say the Raven Queen, for example, is go forth and sow some tragedy, and I will mark you, and when you die, your memories are mine. Cool. What she's not telling you is, and I'm putting a time limit on you because you will be dead in 60 days, for example. Or whatever. And so she doesn't say that, and then if the party is like, yep, we're doing your deal, one of the other gods can chip in like, hey, you didn't mention the thing that you always do. You always kill people within 2 months. And they're like, what? So
yeah, that'd be good. You could have the gods bad-mouthing each other.
Yeah, so if everyone's got like one secret or one clause. It's Dragon's Den, but with a bit more at stake.
Yeah.
Can you imagine BBC show like, okay, I've come up the lift and I'm here bartering for my life.
Oh, I couldn't imagine that on BBC. Oh.
No, probably not BBC. That's a Channel 4 show.
Channel 4 show. That's Black Mirror sort of thing.
It is a bit, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Actually, that does sound like a Black Mirror episode.
Yeah, maybe it already exists. Maybe like no ideas original, really.
If not, we need to tweet Charlie Brooker.
I really like Charlie Brooker. I would love to have any reason to be in touch with him. He's like, his books are like my holiday fuel.
Yeah, I've not read one of his books.
I've got a few of them. They're basically like collections of his of articles and stuff that he's written. Yeah. But I just love his sort of like, so miserable, sarcastic, like, it's so good.
It's also, so bitter, but sweet.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, I love the fact that he's married and has kids with Connie Hook from Blue Peter. Like, what the fuck?
What the hell? she must be so wholesome, and he just seems so not.
I know. Like, yeah. That's it. Like, yeah, yin and yang once again.
Quite.
So anyway, next to Elmer Fudd, you've got Charlie Brooker on a pedestal.
Yes, and he's just in there.
He just tells you to kill yourself.
So fuck it, end it all. You've come this far.
You're not going to get a better deal from these guys. Might as well top yourself.
Yeah, you might end up on the astral plane. Who knows?
I do think with this, aside from their regular deal, whatever it is they have, like, there'll be other envoys and, followers that will interact with the party knowing they've done the deal. Either for that god or for one of the other gods that was part of that group. To try and tempt them with other offers or, like, say that you must do this, Like, basically, the god has changed the deal and they have no choice in the matter.
Oh, that's horrible. And that would spark the reason to try and get out of the deal if it starts going too sour. Too quickly, and they're like, no, we're not doing this anymore. This is bullshit. Yeah,
I mean, you can see it, right? They're in a big city. They're doing whatever their shopping thing, and as they're sort of like walking past an alley, someone shouts out at them and like gestures and all, like flashes the symbol of the naked mole rat, and like they know straight away.
So we've got a naked flasher in an alley, standard.
Well, yeah, it's Erdlin's symbol.
I've just got Ron Stoppable in an alley with his mole rat.
Ron Stoppable. What a character. That show really just made naked mole rats a thing. Like, did anyone know they existed before then?
No, it felt like it was like a throwaway 90s cartoon reference a bit. As like being the crappiest of pets.
Yeah.
It was never a character. Rufus. And they made Rufus pretty cute.
Yeah. But have you seen those things like on actual nature shows? They're horrible.
Oh, yeah, they are like ball sacks with claws.
Yeah. Anyway, so we've got a guy that's got a bit of parchment, one of these on it, like sort of like waving it at you. Like, he can be a flasher as well. It doesn't necessarily mean he doesn't have to be clothed. Maybe that's what his followers do. Maybe that's
his deal with the god.
Maybe that's one of the the things that he throws into the deal to make it less attractive. One of you must be naked at all times as a show of devotion to me.
You'd call bullshit at that point, wouldn't you? You're like, No.
Well, how about rather than naked then, like you have to wear a big flasher trench coat, like a fantasy trench coat, not like a proper one, but like, you know, a big old
and
coat.
You could sell it like they're being a big edgelord, like the Matrix had just come out and everyone wants a big leather trench coat. Like, yeah, you look so cool.
The consequence of that maybe being that you can't wear armour. You know, so for your spellcasters, not such a big deal. I wear robes anyway. It's a different set of robes.
Yeah.
For your martial classes, like, fuck, if we have to sign up with this guy, like, I'm going to be pretty balls in combat.
I need to learn Kung Fu in order to kick any sort of ass.
Everyone just instantly takes a level in monk. I guess that's interesting. What could be, like, negative things to add in?
Go on, let's think of some of those. So, yeah, like your big penalty ones were crushing, you know. We're talking removal of ability scores. Constitution's a wonderful one to sap because it feels like it doesn't matter until it really, really does.
Well, it's directly connected to your you know, life essence. If we're saying that, you know, like they have died and come back.
Your ability to gain HP when you level up.
Yeah, it's going to affect your wizards for concentration saves.
Yeah, or anyone for concentration if they've got poison traps. You know, they happen all the time.
Even more so since we did that deal.
It was a poison trap that got us into this mess.
Yeah. Oh, maybe depending on how you kill the party in the TPK, you could like have them have some sort of.
Let's say, especially if they all died in the same way, they all fell into lava. You make it so that they all come back to life, but they're all like weak to fire damage, or even resistant to fire damage, or something like you clearly tripped into this problem, so I'm going to help you out with that thing, but I'm going to take away with that. I giveth and I taketh away.
I like that. I do like, because I like you know, like if you just keep getting buffs and buffs and buffs, fine. It's like a video game. You're just leveling up and getting better.
But trading buffs and like reskilling yourself.
I do like the idea of giving the party like a group vulnerability as well as a buff, because then, you know, if you get into a situation with some sort of fire creature and you're weak to fire, like that's instantly like such bigger stakes for the group.
And to do it en masse as a group is actually quite devious, isn't it?
Yeah, because you get in there, it's like, oh, you know, I've got resistance to fire damage because of my bracelet. I'll go toe to toe with this guy.
Yes.
Like, no, now actually it's like, oh fuck, we all want to sort of stay away from that guy because we could die again.
Yeah. I think that's a cool thing, though. I think that maybe the weakness to a certain damage type, maybe you don't want to do that. I think I would. I think that's quite cool. But you could do something like, I will give you +1 intelligence for -1 wisdom or something. Or you can start playing with people's ability scores in general.
Yeah. A good one might be if they're going to be physically marked in some way by the god they've done the deal with. Like, you know, some sort of symbol, like minus charisma, or like persuasion, or
for your face tattoo.
Yeah, people see that you have a giant naked mole rat tattooed on your forehead and think, you're not so intimidating now, fancy boy.
Yeah. Smooth talker? No.
No, I don't think I'm going to give you a discount on this cheap health potion that I've already discounted. Please don't kill me and burn my family down.
Burn my whole family down.
Yeah, let's burn them down, though, as well. Like, you start at the bottom, and they're still stood and they crumple after a while.
I will burn you to the ground. What do you even mean by that? Shut up.
Burn your family down. It's like the great insult, go piss yourself. It's like, you know what it means, but it's just not quite right.
Somehow not terribly intimidating.
Yeah. Have that one for free.
I guess one other thing then I think we could probably have a little talk about is one of these sort of single hit quests. I think I would normally be interested in the heisty thing, steal the thing, but I think there are so many people that talk heists and know heists that maybe I was wondering more about the Save the Halflings one.
Yeah, I don't know why I said saving halflings.
Well, that's fine. Go to Hobbiton, stop Sauron, job done.
I guess it's just from reading Modern Kind of Tomb of Foes again. Like, it talks about like halflings, and they're very much Tolkien-esque. Like, you know, they are halflings that are hobbits. They live in a place that is the Shire and do things like skimming stones over water and, like, you know, living in little villages.
Just wholesome little bundles of love.
Too wholesome so wholesome and innocent that, a regular band of wandering orcs are going to come in and fuck them up. So you got to go save them.
You got to preserve the innocence of the halfling village, and that's what Moonbow's all about.
Yeah. I think, okay, let's make it different. Rather than the party goes in and has to fight something, I think we do it slightly differently. So if this group of halflings are so innocent and, carefree, Seheni Moonbow is basically telling the party, like, you have to go and help them defend themselves. You have to, inspire them into action. You have to sort out their, they haven't got any defenses. Like, they're basically like a village in the middle of a field. Like, help them.
But help them do it on their terms.
Yeah, you can, teach a man to fish sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so party arrives there, like, yeah, we're going to do something good. And basically, no one cares. None of the hobbits care or believe them, and they're incredibly lazy, and they're fat off the land, which is why they're so lazy. But it's also why the orcs want to come
around here.
Yeah. Oh no! Like, all you troublemakers, get out of here. So there's nothing to be done. And then you set like an arbitrary time limit, like a couple of days or a week or whatever. So the party have got time to try and convince them because they're in this deal. They need to make sure these guys are all right.
They can go out and gather evidence. They can send search party. I mean, you couldn't get a search party, but you could go, look, I went to the forest 2 days away, and here is the head of an orc that was just chilling.
I was just thinking the same thing, like, look at all these orc heads. This could be you. Yeah, so that's the thing. And ultimately, if you fail to convince them for whatever reason, then the attack happens. You don't have the support of the halflings, and they start getting killed off, in rounds of combat. I'm thinking like XCOM when you've got civilians on the map.
Yeah, sure.
Like, they're just around the battle map, and they get attacked and die, and you've got to try and save as many of them as possible.
Yeah, cool.
Then they learn the lesson. Then they're up for, buying into some sort of training montage. But yeah, the party basically have had a real crap time of trying to convince them and try and do some, or even like if they take it upon themselves to build the battlements or something.
Yeah, that's interesting to try and plan out. I've realised we're sort of diverging a little bit and getting into that particular scenario. But, when you're planning something and roll persuasion or whatever and it goes wrong, I find it very frustrating as a DM to know that there's information that your party doesn't get.
Mm-hmm.
And I've said before, I like there to be many ways to get the information, but say you roll into town and there are a bunch of impotent, can't be arsed, non-believers of bad things in the world, halflings, and you walk in like, problems in the world, they're coming your way. How do you present that to a party? How do you run that in such a way that it's not demoralizing? Because everyone they talk to is like, get out of it, everything's fine. Like, how do you make them persuasive enough? Maybe you have to find like an ally or someone. Yeah.
Exactly. So I would say there's probably like a mayor of the town, like some important guy that everyone would listen to.
Okay.
And let's say that he has a son or daughter that is the only one that listens to you.
Cool. Okay.
And after you've gone around the houses and, not got anywhere with anyone, you by chance hear about, you're just like the mayor's daughter. It's like, it was the mayor's daughter. Oh, she's locked up for causing trouble. And like she's in the small pokey jail. And she's the only one that listens to you and believes you.
She's at the top of a tower with very long hair.
It's a small, sleepy halfling village with a giant tower.
I mean, a giant halfling tower is just a regular tower. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. She is the top of the tallest tower in all the land.
It's slightly taller than your druid.
Yeah, and all of the land is just the village.
Yeah.
From where you stand in the centre of town, you can see larger towers on the horizon.
Siege towers from the orcs steadily moving towards them and they're refusing to notice.
Why do the orcs have siege towers?
They've heard it's a big village. They've heard it's a big town. Like, the halfling, they've been living there for thousands of years, undefeated. We better bring our biggest army. They get there, it's just the little village of Hobbiton.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, let's get a siege engine in there when they actually attack. So, yeah, arbitrary time runs out. It's a week.
Yep.
You have or haven't persuaded the rest of the village to do anything with you, and maybe you've had time to train them, or with rudimentary weapons, or like dish them out.
Down to business.
Yeah, exactly. Got to defeat the Hun.
Yeah.
And then the siege towers arrive on the 7th day, and you're eating your rabbit, peacefully. And then, yeah, you have the combat against the orcs, and, depending on how much influence you've managed to exert in the town, they are more or less likely to help. And otherwise, it's just a tough combat against a lot of things.
Sure, yeah, you might have battlements or people that can keep someone at bay, so not everything rolls in on turn 1, or they survive a couple of rounds.
Yeah, they know to take the dodge action, because you've taught them to hold their shield and wooden sword, rather than just being, out in a hammock and getting stabbed.
Sure, you've trained some of them in the art of archery, and they've taken the highest point in town, that 8-foot tower, but they can pick off a couple of infantry folk as they come towards you. There are small benefits, but you're still doing the majority of the work.
Yeah, absolutely. But it would slow down the attackers because they're more spread out.
Yep.
And you will take less casualties and therefore feel less guilt.
Quite. Moonbow will smile upon you.
She's probably, the more you can save, the better. She'll be happy, and confident in the fact that after you leave, that they'll be taking this seriously and look after themselves.
The more persuasion you get through, the better a job Moonbow thinks you're doing. So when on the night of the attack, it's a full moon and it's well lit, so you can see further that night. You get the boon of the goddess.
What would the boon of the goddess be?
In this case, I just mean a clear night and a particularly strong light, so you can see into the forests, or maybe it glows with a special light that evening and it highlights orc helmets or something, so you can get all those pew-pew headshots. Yeah,
let's do that. Just rolling everything behind the screen anyway, so just make a few more of those hits hit from the halfling archers.
Well, that's it. You could even just drop the AC a bit, couldn't you? But
yeah. Well, that's it. Maybe the fact that they've got they're holding a bit of wood with a handle, that gives them that little bit extra AC that otherwise they wouldn't. Again, when they're just laying in their hammock waiting to get stabbed. I love the idea of what you said about the tower being really small, though. I'm imagining now, talking about siege engines and stuff, I'm thinking of Lord of the Rings, and I'm thinking of, Helm's Deep and Minas Tirith, but imagine if that same sort of, dramatic atmosphere with a group of halflings, little pop-belly things to the battlements! And they all, take one step up, and that's it,
One sandbag.
From our elevated position, surely we will triumph. As he waves, not even a sword, he's got, a turkey leg or something,
Sharpened bone.
No, I'm thinking still with the meat on it, it's that.
Wow.
He's that's his club, and he's
Yeah.
They're not really taking it seriously, but they think they are.
Yeah, this is the mightiest weapon I've ever held. It's yes.
My father gave me this turkey
10 minutes ago.
It's been in my family for hours.
These halflings are morons. I kind of feel like they deserve to be extinguished, but
no, that's why I think that's it's oddly charming and oddly they are just absolute fuckwits.
But it's charmingly so, and it's endearing.
Yeah, because they're trying and they think they're doing a great job, even though they're so obviously just going to get murdered on their own.
And you get the opportunity to write some little comedic combat moments. They bang them on the head, or they throw a cauldron over somebody, and it's dong. Yeah,
improvised weapons, definitely.
Yeah, all the silly stuff that basically Home Alone traps that shouldn't actually.
Got the fancy paint tins.
Yeah, basically you've got a town of Kevin McAllister's, but way more innocent. Cool. Okay, I'm going to try and circle it back around, bring it back to your various gods then.
Mm-hmm.
Could you try and fight the gods? The little lesser god. I mean, bad idea.
No, because like I said at the start, they're not in their real material forms. They can see their bodies in front of them.
Ah, right, okay.
They are detached from their bodies, and as such, they have no armaments, or if they try and do spells, nothing's happening, because they are representations of themselves.
You have no power here.
Try and jump back into their own body. Dive in and be just hit the floor.
Good, okay, that's an important thing to get out of the way, because you know what some parties will do? They will try and hit everything.
Yes, but they can't. It's like they're punching through treacle.
Cool. So your intervention, I know we had some little worries about the idea of divine intervention, because it can feel like a real, well, literally a Deus Ex Machina, can't it? The gods have involved themselves and fixed your problem, but this is a cool little way of, they fixed the problem, but it's But have they? If anything, they've created a secondary problem.
They've added more problems. Well, I think that's good, though. I do like that in a story when it's not just like, this is the story, we go from A to B. You know, it's like all these other things are happening and they can distract you and take you on other courses and sort of like change the narrative of whatever it is you're doing anyway.
Yeah. We'll call these the onion gods for adding extra layers.
The onion gods, yes. And they got Shrek, obviously in the 7th seat now, next to Elmer Fudd and...
Charlie Brooker?
Charlie Brooker, God. Yeah. Let's get rid of the actual gods. Let's just have, like, whoever we name during the podcast, just them, like...
That will be our canon pantheon.
Shrek's deal is, I want you to stay out of my swamp.
That's it. I'll bring you back to life. You just can't go to the swamp.
It's not a jungle you're in. You're, like, you're in a swamp again. And, like, that's where the audience is taking care of. I don't care. Get the fuck out.
I'll bring you back to life, but you have to never, ever come back.
Yeah. And the Raven Queen's like, fuck, this guy's powerful. Best do what he says.
All in. Congrats. Good sesh. I like it. It's a cool idea. It's a nice little play that means that your gods have some relevance to not just your religious characters. Gives some of the intermediate deities a bit of airtime, which is, cool.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I said right at the start, putting some lesser-known gods in there means you can make them whatever you want. If all they're known for is being greedy, maybe they're greedy for something very particular.
Yeah, treacle.
Yeah, you do whatever you want. Treacle.
Winnie the Pooh is the greedy god. So you must bring me all the honey.
Also, take this pig with you.
The pig must survive at all costs.
Yeah. You should be more careful with your words in the presence of God's adventurers. This discussion draws on too long. My offer is rescinded. And with that, the hooded raven's head exploded into a plume of black-grey feathers that drifted slowly to the ground and turned to white ash as they landed upon the great stone throne and surrounding vegetation. Best let me do the talking, said Vestel, as she stepped in front of Snips to address the remaining deities. She studied each of them in turn before speaking. The ancient amphitheatre hummed with the noise of insects and tropical birds that lived in this remote jungle. It would surely be uncomfortably humid were we not in these astral forms, she thought, glancing at the pile of charred bodies slumped in a heap. Krunk was kneeling over his remains, sobbing weakly and trying to claw at his true self with his astral form. But each meek swipe of his hand simply brushed through the burnt body without making contact with his material self. Too many distractions. I need to focus, she thought. Perhaps in this form I could still... Nothing to lose, I suppose? With that, she strode over to her burnt remains, reached in to attempt to grasp the licorice root in her component pouch, whispered an incantation under her breath. Reditus Ianenium. And at once, time slowed around her. All of the buzz and noise of the local wildlife slowed into a clear, soothing tone. Her companions watching her struggled to understand what happened next. She seemed to move at double pace between each of the thrones, her speech incomprehensible as she talked to each of the seated figures still present, and they in turn responded to her at an increased pace. What's happening? I don't know. Then it is done. The pact is sealed. You all regret this decision, mortals. Mark my words, called out one of the other gods as he too vanished from his throne. A black portal opened in front of Ereboss, who stood now much taller than he appeared to have been while seated, his form disguised by the fine robe adoring his slim figure. The sky darkened with stormy clouds, and lightning began to strike. Walk through the portal and be reborn. Vestel turned to the party as her long silver hair whipped and swirled in the wind. Her robes billowed as she pulled and struggled to steady herself. What the blazes have you done? Called out Fortescue, barely audible over the growing winds. I've saved our lives. Now come on. The vortex grew as the last remaining light dimmed, and unnervingly, all colour drained from the scene. The lush vegetation in the overgrown amphitheatre and surroundings seemed to shrivel and die before their eyes. The other gods had all left by now, with only Ereboss, arms raised to the sky, directing the violent events remaining. We have to go now. You have to trust me. All of you. I have a plan. And with that, Vestel dashed into the portal, disappearing into the void which then lashed out with black tendrils and pulled in the rest of the unwilling party.
Go on then, what you got for me next week?
Yeah, okay, Jake. The 45th President of the United States, Donald Trump. How would you run that?
That's so oddly specific and yet so oddly broad.
Well, you can do whatever you like.
Okay. As ever, yeah, the thoughts immediately begin. I have some ideas. Thanks again for joining us for another episode of our D&D podcast, How Would You Run That? Please give a like or subscribe wherever it is you get your podcasts. In particular, it'd be great if you could leave us some comments on iTunes and voice notes on the Anchor platform, anchor.fm. Spread the word, and we'll speak to you again next week.
Thanks everyone, catch you later.